we get closer to the solstice, it's really a time where we're supposed to, if we're connected in with the seasonal energy, we're supposed to be doing more rest. We're supposed to be rejuvenating and resting and reflecting more than this, outward strong energy. When when the nights get longer, it's really an opportunity for us to look within. So we're going to do restoratives today. I hope that makes everybody happy. Oh, I see a few clapping hands. Yay. Okay, good. You never know. Some people, when they step onto their mat, they might be like, oh, I need, you know, totally strong poses today to keep me going. And if that's the case, then you go, oh, look, there's clapping hand emojis too. So that's a good sign. But if you need something more than what we're going to do, by all means, go do it. So first, go get this. I see Maggie's already has hers. If you don't have one of these already, yep, I see a few of you have them. It's a rolled kitchen towel with 3 rubber bands around it. So if you have a way to make a little bolster like this, go run and find what you need. And it's amazing what magic this little thing can be. So restoratives, it's a really important aspect of our yoga practice, and I think sometimes sorely neglected. When's the last time I don't think it's common for us to do restorative poses unless some teacher tells you now it's time to do restoratives. Right? So bravo if you seek out restoratives and if they're a part of your life on the regular. That's a really good thing for your well-being. And I hope that the practice today is helpful to you. So let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall. And take a moment to notice, are you, I'm guilty of this, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Are you somebody who overdoes? Are you too busy? Do you have too much on your plate? Do you kind of bite off more than you can chew sometimes? So if that's the case, and even if it's not, actual to-do list doing, it could just be in your mind, like the busyness in your mind. So notice if this is your personality. Sometimes we get over busy for lots of reasons. Sometimes it's just a requirement of the part of your life. Sometimes it's an avoidance of whatever you're avoiding. Sometimes it can be habit. Sometimes it can be expectations laid upon us by someone else or by ourselves to think we need to keep up. So let's prioritize, let's push rest right to the top of the list of the checklist of things to do. When you were writing your to-do list, I'm sure you all have a to-do list. Is rest ever on that list? So let's drop some weight. Feel a sense of coming home into your body. One of the gifts of restoratives is slowing down. So let's start with the breath. Slow the breath down. See if you can make the exhales comfortably long or ever so slightly uncomfortably long. Not so much where you feel the need to gasp for an inhale, but enough to make you hungry for the next inhale. See if you can melt through your face. Scan your body, start at the top and work your way down, and notice any places where you might be holding some tension unnecessarily. Where are your spots? You might have some usual spots. Maybe you have a unique spot today where attention likes to be. All the while staying with your long and steady breath. All right, let's place our hands together at our heart and offer an intention. What needs renewal within you? How can rest support you? And then release the hands. All right, put your hands on your knees and let's just do some seated cat-cow for a moment. So tuck the chin, round the back, and then take a deep breath in, open the throat, arch the back a little bit, arch the pelvis, and just go back and forth with a seated cat-cow. You feel the beginning of awakening of the movement of your spine and link it to the feeling of your breathing. Start to feel as though your breath is a metronome pace of how you want to be in your practice. All right, and sit up on your sit bones. Feel that grounding. And let's lift the right arm up and bring the hand to the outside of the knee, other hand behind you to support you. And just find yourself moving into a beginning twist here. Discover the breath again. And come back, change sides, arm up, bring it to the outside of the knee. Feel that sense of awakening, opening. All right, and then come back to center. And now let's go ahead and lie down on our mat. Okay, so as you find your way, notice as you lie down, just the change of shape in your body when you come horizontal. All right, let's stretch and move. So wake up a little bit. Feel your breath. Maybe you want to squeeze your body a little bit, kind of squirm around, see what feels good. All right, and then bring your knees into your chest and rock a little bit, swaying from side to side. All right, let's open the knees up. Let's bring them back together. So just clearing some pathways for your hip joints, finding your breath. All right, and then right knee comes into the chest, left leg stretches long. And go ahead and whirl around your ankles. See if you can find some wiggles in your toes. Just waking up the bottom of your body, the very bottom edge, right? So feel the soles of your feet broaden and awaken. And then maybe scrunch them up and pull your toes in. Just see what kind of movement feels good. All right, and then switch sides. Left knee in, right leg comes long on the floor, and feel some movement there. Finding your breath. Long spine. All right, two knees back in. Go ahead and rock, moving from side to side. And then a simple twist. Put your feet down onto the ground. Let's lift the hips up, scooch them over to the right side. Drop your knees over to the left and open up your chest. See what it feels like to have a big breath come across the sweep of your chest. Feel your arms stretch out. Turn your head if you want to. Enjoy. And then come back to center. Scoot your hips over the other way. Bring your knees up and drop them down to the side. Open up the twist this way. Sternum, stretching your fingers. Feel the head turn. Enjoy your breath. All right, come back to center. Big old starfish, spread your limbs. Take a deep breath. Wiggle your fingers and your toes. Take another deep breath And hold your breath and give a good squeeze. Squeeze all your muscles. And then knees into the chest. Pick up your head. Okay, one more time. Open things out. And then exhale. Draw things in. All right, go ahead and get your little rolled towel. And we're going to start with some, I think you all have done this before, but just in case you haven't, we're going to start with this kind of high on our shoulder blades. And there's 3 basic movements that you want to do. Okay, so you're on your back, your knees are bent, all right, feet hip width apart. And we're going to push off of our feet to move our body up and down, so like north and south. So crown, tail movement. Instead of no side to side, we're just going top, bottom. And start to figure this out before I give you the 3 arm positions. A lot of times people struggle with this, where they just kind of end up moving their pelvis around, where they anterior and posterior tilt the pelvic, like a pelvis, like a pelvic thrust. So we want to not try to keep your pelvis really quiet so that you're pushing off your feet to make your whole spine move. So your hip flexors can get a little fatigued. And if they do, or if you have trouble with the pelvic movement of this, you can put your feet up. Imagine that I have a wall. You can put your toes up against a wall sometimes, or against a bolster. Sometimes that can help you figure out the movement of pushing off your legs. All right, so once you have that squared away, you're gonna have the rolled towel underneath the top edge of your shoulders, shoulder blades. And we're going to the 3 positions with the arms as you're rocking off your feet. So pushing constantly, just feel that rhythm. We're going to have our hands come over our chest to mimic a little bit of flexion in the spine. And then we're going to bring our arms over our head to mimic a little extension in the spine. And then we're going to bring the hands back up and then bring them off to one side to mimic rotation in the spine. And you can turn your head as well, and then over to the other side. So I guess it's 4 movements. And then take your sweet time, and once you're done with all of those movements, come back to up with your hands and scooch the roll towel a little bit lower under your shoulder blades and try again. Okay, so we're just going to rock and move. And your rocking can be kind of gentle and slow, just kind of fun, or a little faster. Just find what is your rhythm, what feels natural to you. The most important thing you can be doing here is breathing. Try to melt your head. There's no need to have your neck hold tension in this pose. Find your breath. Now, if you tend to be a fast mover, slow down a little bit. Just see what you can do to have patience with the awakening body. And we're just keeping moving down the spine. So just find a new spot and then try those 4 arm positions again. Okay. Over your chest, and then over your head. And if you fall in love with the spot, if you're like, oh, that's so good, then just hang out there for a little while. Give yourself a little self-massage. And then arms back up, and then over to the side when you're ready. So there's just your pace. Okay, so the hands go over your chest, then over your head, and then side to side, and then you move down. Okay, with the bolster a little bit lower under your spine. And it's amazing how moving an inch can make a huge difference in the sensation that you feel. Make sure you're breathing. Keep checking in with your rocking. Try to have as little effort as possible to do the rocking. There's no rush. And when notice there's some spots that I think are a little more yummy than other spots, and they're different for everybody. Sometimes when you get close to the diaphragm, there can be some unique stuff going on in the way that this impacts the way your breath feels. the way your diaphragm moves. So just notice, just pay attention. And if you're down to your low back, I'm not quite there yet, so I'm kind of talking about where I'm at. But if you're lower than me, if you're a little faster than me, then when you get to your low back, you're going to notice that it starts to feel like nothing. And when you get there, bring your knees to your chest. It's a little harder to do the rocking just because you don't have your feet to push off of, but hold your knees and just continue rocking. And that little bit of rounded pelvis will help the low back have a little weight into the bolster. All right, so at any point, when you're holding your knees, suddenly you can't do the arm position, and that's okay. And you can try it just without holding your arms if you want to have, without holding your knees if you want to move your arms. But sometimes it feels good just to take a break from the arm position and just allow your back to rock on the blanket or on the towel. Okay, maybe 2 or 3 spots in your low back. And when you get to your sacrum, there's no rush. So if you're still up in your thoracic spine, take your time. This is a very personal practice. This is not like, oh, I'm slower than everybody else. Oh, I'm faster than everybody else. You're just at your pace. Okay. So, but when you do get to your sacrum instead of your low back, you might feel that, oh, now I could put my feet down again. So go ahead and put your feet down again. And you might even notice when you get even lower on your sacrum, when you get to your tailbone, it might feel good to straighten your legs all the way and flex and point your toes to kind of rock off of your heels. So experiment. And you might think once your bolster is under your sacrum that the arm positions don't matter anymore, but your whole spine is deeply connected. So still do the arm positions when you get your feet back down onto the ground. You don't have to linger as long, but just feel the imprint of different movements in your body that can impact how your sacrum feels. Are you breathing? And if you're faster than me and you're done, then that's okay. Maybe go back to your favorite spot. Maybe just rest. Maybe just sit here and breathe. And if you're not anywhere near done, that's okay too. So if I move on, I'm almost done. So if I move on to teaching a new thing, but you're still doing this, then just keep doing this. Okay? So there's no FOMO. You don't have to worry about missing out on anything. Everything's always available. All right, once you are finished, rest either with your knees bent and your feet on the floor and just allow your body to kind of vibrate into its softness. If that feels like too much work, then lay your legs down. All right, take a starfish when you're ready. Arms wide. We're going to bring our right elbow and our right knee toward each other and then curl the rest of the body over that. And then inhale and open your body out to a starfish, and then left elbow and left knee come toward each other and roll over to that side. One more time, each side. I can't tell you how much better this feels on a wood floor than yoga mats. But here we are. So all right, and then go ahead and rest. Let your legs soften down into the ground. Grab your right knee and either strap around your right foot or interlace your hands behind your hamstring. And let's go ahead and lift that right leg up in the air. Finding the breath. Reach up through your foot and down through your hip. Feel the extension in your spine. Soften the shoulders. Flex and point your toe, perhaps. Feel the back of your head rest into the floor. Relax your shoulders enough. Soften them down. Let your arms be relaxed. So this is why a strap is nice instead of holding your leg. And let's open the leg, the right leg out to the right. Feel the stretch in your inner thigh. And feel free to bend your your left knee and put your left foot on the floor or keep the left leg straight. Your choice. Feel the extension through your spine. Reach into your left foot. Reach into your right foot. So even though these poses are restorative, they're not passive. We will do some more passive things in a few minutes. All right, lift that leg straight up. Take the strap into the left hand and cross your right leg over to the left. Now you get to decide how far over you want to go. You can go really far and turn it into a spinal twist. You can go just a little bit far and keep the sensation in a stretch of your outer hip. So just find what feels nice. Remember that you do not have to lift your shoulders and head. Everything can relax toward the earth. The ways we try to help ourselves with our neck and shoulders and head, we can train ourselves to relax those parts of our body. How's your breath? All right, lift that right leg up. Join left foot with right. Notice the difference between your two legs. Extend through your spine. Flex and point your toes here in the strap. All right, and then take the right foot out. Keep the left foot in. If you're holding, you can just hold behind your thigh. Or otherwise, hold the strap. Okay, reach up through your left, down through your left foot, and down through your left hip. Decide whether you want your right leg straight on the floor or knee bent foot on the floor. They're different. Nothing really changes as far as what you're stretching in your left leg so much as the position of your pelvis changes. So if you feel not neutral, see and experiment with what you want to do with your leg to help your pelvis come into a neutral place. Flex and point the toes here. All right, now we're going to open the leg up. So left leg coming out to the left. Relax your head and shoulders on the ground. See if you can feel the ease here. Come inside your breathing. Relax on your exhales. Let your exhales be long. Allow your inhales to fill you up with some good, fresh, new energy. All right, and then lift that left leg up in the air. Cross the strap over to the right. Left foot over to the right. Move your left hip away from your left shoulder. Feel the spine grow in length. Breathing well. Lift that left foot up in the air, and then let's lower the left foot down onto the ground. And just notice your body for a moment. Let your limbs land where you want. Take a deep breath all the way to your pelvic floor. Let your belly move. Free up whatever's binding you, whether it's in the body or mind. Okay, let's go ahead and roll over onto our side and come up onto all fours. And let's feel some movement with some cat-cows. Okay, so finding a little bit of an arch of the spine, a little bit of a roundingness of the spine. Be very gentle with yourself. You just did a whole bunch of self-massage with that rolled towel. And then after a couple rounds of that, feel free to move your spine however you want. So maybe you want to sway your hips. Maybe you want to wiggle your hips, or your neck, your shoulders. There's nothing that is required, and there's nothing that you can't do. And then stretch back towards child's pose and walk the hands out there in front of you if it's comfortable.
And drop into some deep flexion in the knees and hips. Relax your head. Let the sit bones stay wide. Feel the breath travel down the back body. Can this be a pose of repose? Can you imprint into child's pose that this is surrender? That it's a pose of being, not a pose of doing.
Walk the hands over to one side and enjoy all the open space for breathing. Stretch your fingertips into the ground and then drop weight into the hip and feel the full side stretch. All right, let's come over to the other side. Feel the body awaken here on this side. See if you can awaken the breath. Relax your neck. All right, and then come back to child's pose. Relax your hips toward the heels. This will probably be the only active pose we do. Curl the toes under and lift to a dog pose. Now, if you want to make this more passive, go ahead and stick a block underneath your forehead at whatever height you need it to be so that you can support yourself. Feel free to move. You can pedal your feet or sway your hips. Anything that feels right. Enjoy the inversion. We'll do another inversion as well, but enjoy this inversion. Breathing deeply. Okay, and then come down and rest in child's pose. All right, come up onto your knees and take your right foot forward. Just opening up the hip flexors a bit here. And we're going to turn and twist. So put your left forearm on your right knee and your right hand on your knee and just open up through your sternum. Feel the hip flexors awaken. Try not to collapse and fall. A little bit of energy to hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. Widen across your collarbones. And then release the hands down, back to child's pose. Notice the difference between your two hips. Deep breath here. And let's change sides. Bringing your other foot forward. Left foot forward. Feel the hip flexor stretch of the back leg. Your knee is down. You can put a blanket underneath your knee if you're really unhappy. You can lift your knee up off the ground if your knee is not in a good place. All right, so rest your forearm on your knee for a gentle twist. Your left hand is on your thigh to help support the lift of your spine. Hug to the midline with your legs. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. Relax the shoulders. Broaden the collarbones. Stay inside that big, beautiful breath. All right, come on out of there. Come back to child's pose. And we're going to come back onto our back. Okay, grab a block or two, depending on you. And we're going to come up to a supported bridge. So you can put one block underneath you, or you can put one block on middle height or low height. And if you want more height, you're going to stack two blocks underneath you like this. Okay, so where they're still wide underneath you so that you have the height width, but you also have the width across your pelvis. So whatever feels good. Let your arms relax. Let the back of your head melt.
See if you can open up the belly, open up the diaphragm. You can imprint the four corners of your feet a bit without having to do a lot of work. How's your breath? Stay noticing. Stay present. Pay attention. All right, and then bring your knees to your chest with the block underneath you. If you have two blocks underneath you, take one away. Go ahead and just draw the knees in. Feel a little awakening the back of your lumbar spine. And then relax your legs down onto the ground. Roll over onto your side, and we're going to get either two blankets on top of each other, long ways, or a bolster, depending on what you have. So line up your blankets, and we're going to take a block on either side of your blanket. And we're going to come sitting on the blanket with your back on the floor, so pelvis is up on the blanket. Kind of similar to what we just did, but this little softer surface. We're going to scooch our hips over to the right, pick up our knees and drop them left, and put your shin on the block. All right, so your pelvis is above your chest. This starts a little bit of inverting. Deep breaths here. Relax and melt what you can. You're going to pick up your knees off that bolster, off the block, and come back to neutral. And then scoot your hips over to the left, pick up your knees and drop them right, and adjust the block so that it's underneath your right shin or the outside of your shin. So, notice the difference when you're up a little bit under your pelvis on two blankets or a bolster. The inversion, that your chest is below your pelvis. So we're starting to have the beautiful impact that inversions give us. All right, and then pick up the knees. Come back onto your back, knees to your chest. Give yourself a little hug. Let that thoracic spine or lumbar spine open. And then let's push the blanket away. Put your feet on the blanket. So just have the blankets or bolster a little bit further away. And then we're going to put our feet on there and take your right foot on top of your left knee. And then actually, let's do it this way. If you have a wall handy or a piece of furniture, okay, let's put our left foot on the piece of furniture or the wall and the right foot on top of the left knee for a supported reverse pigeon pose. Okay, so open up the breath. Now, when you get here, you do not have to hold on anymore. A lot of times when we do reverse pigeon pose, a little struggle happens with our shoulders and our head as we try to reach to grab our leg to pull it toward us. So let the furniture do the work for you or the wall.
And the closer you move your body to the wall, the deeper the stretch in your hip. So you can adjust by going further out or further in. Now, when you do this, wide sit bones, a neutral pelvis, breathing well. Can you melt your body on the ground? Some people like to take their right hand on their knee. So just see, what feels good for your body. Are you relaxed? Is the stretch giving you tension anywhere? Melt. And then when you're ready, we're going to change to the other side. So now left foot on top of right knee. And just notice, do you need to make some adjustments about how close or far you are to the furniture or wall? Do you have a tendency to hike your right hip up toward your shoulder? See if you can notice your pelvis being nice and balanced. Stretch through the big toe and the inner heel and pull your pinky toe side of your foot just a little back toward your knee. You can even press it just ever so slightly into your right leg. Let all these things be subtle so we're not working hard in this posture. The sit bones get wide. Notice your lumbar spine. Are you neutral? Do you have a nice neutral curve in your back? Is your neck relaxed? Are your shoulders as weighted as they can be? How about your head? The back of your head. You don't have to press the back of your head into the ground, but is it weighted? Do you have your full weight dropping into the earth? How is your breath? Okay, we're going to take a couple of breaths, wide sit bones, have that sense of, really enjoying the feeling of the posture. And then when you're ready, go ahead and release and come out. We're going to do leg up the wall pose. I'm going to do it back here at my wall. I have 2 blankets. You can have no blankets. You can have a bolster. You can have whatever height you want underneath you. And when you come into this pose, the best way to get in there is to sit on the wall, to get your butt on the wall and the outer hip on your support if you're using any. And then just swing your legs up. If you can have your tailbone and your sit bones kind of drop down in a little pocket, that can feel nice to have a nice neutral pelvis. And if you feel like you need a little support under your head, you can have a blanket or whatever you want underneath your head. So it's important when you're doing this pose in a restorative fashion that you actually put your legs against a wall. A lot of times we do this pose with our pelvis on a block in the middle of the room or in some fashion where we're having an imaginary wall. Have a real wall. It's a beautiful posture of renewal. Allow gravity to weight your legs into your hips. Adjust anything until you feel like, oh yeah, now I'm comfortable. My head's comfortable. My body's comfortable. My back is comfortable. Are you able to breathe well? And then remember always that you can have different choices with your legs. So your legs can be straight up. You can put the soles of your feet on the wall. You can cross your legs like you're sitting cross-legged. You can take the soles of your feet together like Baddha Konasana, or you can take your legs wide on the wall like the letter V. Try to make a choice that is not about
I'm used to doing and not being, so therefore I should be moving. So experience stillness, whatever choice you make of how you want your legs to be. See if you can just stay put for a while and not make any changes. Unless you're uncomfortable and you really need to shift something. But a lot of times our movement just comes from our mind needing something to do. So let's rest the mind. Feel the back of your head rest on the ground or blanket. And let the frontal lobes of the brain rest down on the back brain. Stay inside your breath. Long, steady inhales. Long, steady exhales. To help your nervous system create that calming effect, if you can make the exhales just a little bit longer without strain, the simple, wonderful way to stimulate the part of your nervous system that is in charge of rest. All right, when you are ready, you can come rolling over onto your side. Take your time, rest on your side for a moment. Don't whip right up. See what you can feel.
harvest the posture. And then the next pose, we're going to do the Supta Baddha Konasana. So there's lots that you can do to help yourself with this pose. I have showing you a setup with 2 blocks, one higher than the other, underneath the bolster. So of course, I don't know what kind of support you have at home. So I'll show you this way, but then, of course, we can have creative choices with props. So you can have a blanket. So Supta Baddha Konasana, you lay on your back. Your buttocks are on the floor, your back is on your little ramp, and you take blankets and have them 4 underneath your knees. And then, if you have other blankets or a pillow, you can take extra support for under your head. If you feel like your arms need more support, you can take some props underneath your forearms. So get all your stuff out, just use all your props available to you. And if you don't have this much stuff, some ways to make this a little bit less prop intensive is to open up one blanket like this, and then open roll, or open fold and then roll it to a long snake, so that you can just use one blanket and put it over top your feet and underneath your knees, and that frees up a blanket to either put under your head or however you want. The other choice, if you don't have a bolster, is to use your 2 blocks like heart bench, just like this, and put one blanket or 2 if you have them, just over the blocks with the other blanket that you have in the snake under your feet. So just work with what you have. The goal here is to have your head higher than your heart and your heart higher than your pelvis. So, a ramp for your body, and then to support underneath the outer legs. You don't want to have your knees or your head or your arms hanging. If you have limbs hanging, this is not a good feeling for the nervous system. The nervous system will be on alert. It will be vigilant to what's happening with that limb. So if you have deep support, make a little burrowed nest for yourself to rest within. The more support you have underneath your limbs, your head, your arms, your legs, and your back too, the better this pose will be at giving you the state of rejuvenation. It's not about stretching. This pose is not about deep sensation in the body. It's about deep rest in the body. And it's unique, when we have our throat open, our chest open, our belly open, our pelvis open, we have a vulnerability that if you can rest within the vulnerability, it's a beautiful freedom that we can cultivate. It's very different than like curling into child's pose for rest, which is also beautiful. So once you find your position, close your eyes and breathe. Melt your body as best as you can. Peel the layers of tension. Notice, can I drop a little bit more? Can I surrender a little bit more? Long, steady breath in. Long, steady breath out. All right, to come out of this pose. And actually, before you come out, let me just say this. If you notice that you have trouble resting, weight can be very helpful. So, bags of rice over your hands, a eye pillow over your eyes, a sandbag on your pelvis or right at your thighs where your thighs meet your pelvis. There's so many ways, a weighted blanket. There's so many ways to help you, and weight on you can just the right way, not too much weight, can be a very soothing kind of um, shortcut into helping you rest if you struggle with it. Okay, let's come on to our side by bringing our knees together with our hands. And then you get to decide what position you want to be in for the rest of, if you want to stay where you are for Shavasana, that's fine. Maybe you want to be flat on your back. Maybe you'd rather put your legs up the wall or calves up on a chair or a couch. Maybe you want to curl onto your side and have support under your head and between your knees down to your heels. If you are at all cold, cover up, get your sweatshirts and your socks and your blankets, and let Shavasana be a gift of absorbing, harvesting your practice. Take your time to get it just right. Have the props that you need. And close your eyes and once again drop in. It's never a waste of time to consciously rest. It is a gift that we need, nourishment that we need. So stay with it, stay present, experience surrender. Feel your limbs drop with weight. And experience the ease of breathing. Let's begin to deepen our breath one more time. Just know that this is definitely worth your time to offer yourself nourishment. So have a little bit of movement, just waking your nervous system, your body back up for what's coming next in your day. And as you find um, yourself coming into either a big stretch with your arms overhead or knees into your chest, let's harvest this. Let's roll over onto our side and keep aware of this energy. Let's try to maintain some of this energy through your day today. Let's come up to sit. Bring your hands together at your heart. Think of someone in your life who needs nourishment and rest, and offer your practice to them. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a peaceful day.